Okay, welcome back. I'm Miss Christine, and this is the Easy Peasy Music Theory course for kids. I hope you're enjoying the learning process. You're learning so much, and I am so excited for you. So let's get to our next lesson. Are you ready? Let's get to it. All right, and welcome to lesson 15. We're talking about STEM direction. So I'll share my screen right now. Okay, STEM direction. Which way do they go? And so if we look here at our two quarter notes, and we talked about the parts of the quarter note, we have a stem, right? We don't call it a line, and a note head. And sometimes they go downward, and sometimes we see them going upward, right? And we also see the same thing with our half notes, right? We have a stem, but the note head is not filled in, and they too can go downward as well as upward. But we need to know which way they go. So let's talk about this. So it's important that you focus on the middle line or the third line, 1, 2, 3, right here. And this is really important, the third line or the middle line. And if you have notes, which we have quarter notes that are below the third line, okay, the stems are going to go upward or go up to the right. So I'm going to put a R in a circle here. So if you see a quarter note, or half note, or any note that has a stem and it is below the third line, the stem is going to go up to the right. Okay? And now let's learn a little bit more. Sometimes we have notes that fall above the third line. So let's talk about that. Now, if you have notes, in this case, we have quarter notes that are going above the third line, right? If we have notes like a quarter note or a half note that is above the third line, then the stems will go down to the what? To the left. And I'll put an L in a circle. Okay, so if they're above the third line, it's going to go down to the left. If the stems or if the notes are below the third line, the stems are going to go up to the right. And what happens if you have notes that are actually on the third line? Well, if you have, in this case, quarter notes that are on that third line, then the stems can go upward or downward. So you kind of pick, is it going to go up or is it going to go down? You can select whatever option. It can go up is correct, or if you have it going down is correct, as long as it's on that third line. So now let's have a little fun. I have a note head which is filled in, and I'm going to put it on the second line. So it is now below the third line. Where should I put my stem? Should I put it up to the right or down to the left? Well, we know from our learning that if a note head is below the third line, then the stem should go up to the right. Good job. All right, let's do another one. And now I'm going to take my note head and I'm going to put it in the fourth space. And now I have to figure out where to put my stem. Should I put my stem down to the left or up to the right? And if we think back, this note is above the third line, which means the stem has to go down to the left, and that's where I would put my stem. All right, let's do a few more. Here I have my note head, and I'm going to put it underneath the first line. And if we think about our notes, we have our third line, and notes that fall below the third line, the stem has to go up to the right. Okay, and we're going to do one more. Here we have our note head. We're still dealing with a quarter note, but we have our note head, and it's on the third line. And we have to figure out if we want our stem to go down to the left or up to the right. But it's on the third line. So if it's on the third line, we get to pick if we want it down to the left or up to the right. And either option is acceptable. So if I wanted it up to the right, or if I wanted it down to the left, that is both the correct answer. All right, good job working with your stem direction. So let's talk about what we learned today. All right, so what did we learn today? Well, we know that notes with stems can go downward or upward, right? So it doesn't matter as long as it's on that third line. Notes below the middle line, the third line, have stems that go upward to the right, okay? And notes above the third line have stems that go down to the left, okay, downward. And notes, of course, on the middle line, as I mentioned, can go up or down. All right, now let's talk about today's homework. All right, so our homework for this lesson is to circle the notes that are drawn incorrectly. So you should know how the notes should be drawn. And then you have to draw the stem for each note and then write the name of the note. We have a treble clef here that's provided. So I hope you have a great time working on your assignment for this lesson. Good job today, and I'll see you real soon. Bye for now.